Mr. Minister, you've been leading missions, trade missions for the Italian government now for some time. Your most recent one was in Brazil, and you're also in India right now. Let me ask you this. When you put together the government and the business community and the banks, and you call this System Italy, what is System Italy?
Significa che l'Italia è molto orientata con le sue merci.
It means that Italy is very oriented with its products towards export. Made in Italy is appreciated everywhere in the world. We organise missions in those countries where the economy is growing. Russia, Brazil, India. Countries where our produce is appreciated. The novelty is that we put together the local entrepreneur with the Italian entrepreneur, who talk to each other and try to make business together.
Che si parlano e cercano di fare l'affare insieme.
So you're seeing an actual increase in exports as a result of these visits?
Guardi, nel periodo difficile del 2009.
Look, in the difficult period of 2009, with the global economic crisis that hit everybody, also the emerging market experienced relevant drops. Then we moved our missions in those countries that even during the crisis still recorded economic growth.
Andiamo in qualche modo a inseguire quelle economie.
We somehow pursued the growing economies. There is a history going way back, since Marco Polo visited those areas. The connection between Asia and the Mediterranean is an historic relationship. After all, the Mediterranean is a small sea, but it is a sea touching 3 continents. There is this important and meaningful tradition. That is why I believe we need to strengthen this relationship with India, which among the Asian countries is closest to the Italian history and culture.
Maggiore vicinanza alla storia e alla cultura italiana.
Italy has been at the leadership during the G8 process in 2009 of the creation, the birth of the G20. So for you as minister and for the government, would you say that the markets of the G20 countries form the most appetizing part of the world economy for Italy today?
Guardi, la dimostrazione che
Look, the demonstration that growing is important and that the G20 has become the meeting point to exchange information and growth policies. A G8, without countries like China, India and Brazil, made no sense anymore. It's obvious that we need to acknowledge a different political scenario in the world. And I am happy to say that Italy is the country that first opened to this new dimension of cooperation between countries. I believe this has happened also thanks to our historic political tradition. This country has always looked very far at the future.
Un paese che ha sempre cercato di guardare molto lontano, di guardare al futuro.
Looking at the future, you also have coming up next May in Shanghai, the Shanghai Expo, which looks like a big opportunity for Italy. Is China and the Shanghai Export on your priority list?
Shanghai diventerà un evento straordinario.
Shanghai will be an extraordinary event. We were all impressed by the grandeur of the Olympics in China. But what is underway in Shanghai is the most modern and the biggest comparison of the trade exchanges among countries. And Shanghai will also be the bridge to the Milan Expo in 2015. This is also the reason why we intensified the relationships with China, and that in Shanghai, the Italian pavilion will also be one of the biggest in the Expo, because the theme of the Expo has to lead us to increase our exchanges with Asia, and China is a fundamental component of the world economy.
È una componente fondamentale dell'economia del mondo.
Mr. Scajola, let me ask you about the Italian economy. It's had a contraction like everybody else in Europe in 2009. What are the recovery prospects in your view? What kind of level of growth can we look to in 2010?
Noi chiuderemo il 2009.
We will close this year, 2009, with a drop in our GDP of around 4 to 4.2%. It is a blow, but we believe our European economies are already on the path to recovery. And among those, Italy is growing before the others, because we maintained a strong industrial reality in our country. We invested less in finance and more in industries. That is why the figures of the last quarter show progress, and we believe we will be able to achieve 1.2 to 1.5% growth at the end of 2010. A recovery based on the very many small and medium enterprises of our country.
Piccole e medie imprese del nostro paese.